Hey, what's up, guys? It is Unbound Brian, and I have decided to do a rewatching of the Avatar: The Last Airbender. I hadn't seen it since it came out in 2007. You know, when I was like a teenager, and I loved the series back then. And then when Netflix said they were bringing it back, I was like, well, I have to watch this. And I know this video probably won't get a lot of views, and that's okay. For me, this is more of a passion video more than anything. I really loved the Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I decided I wanted to rewatch the whole series again and kind of relive a bit of my teenage years, because when I came out, obviously, when it came out, I was obviously a teenager, almost graduated high school, so I just kind of wanted to give my thoughts on it, and now that it's been, all more than a decade later. I gotta say, the show held up well for over the past 13 years. It is just as good as I remember. And one thing I will tell you, being somebody who was older who watched the show and then is rewatching it again, I gotta say that there's a lot of things that you miss when you watch it as a kid, that you really catch when you're an adult. And let's face it, guys, when you're a geek, your inner child never quite goes away. That's just a fact about anybody who can tell you that, if they're into video games, comic books, superheroes, mythology, that kind of thing. It's just part of our childhood that never quite went away, and that's how it was very much like reliving a part of my youth. With rewatching the Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I gotta say, like, and I I love all the symbolism in it. They tackle a lot of complex issues in a very fantastical way, uh, that are still very relevant to today, because we see things get tackled like like sexism and racism and all sorts of what the consequences of war. These are very like complex topics, and they touch on them in a kid show in a very unique and interesting way, and it's still relevant today. I mean, let's face it. I've had to I've been looking into a lot of like historical stuff lately, coming across like old comedians and things like that, and listen to like the things that they were going through, before, in the years before I was even born. And it's interesting to hear that some of the same problems that humanity is facing today, it is very strange to think that, just, over, 50 years ago, we were still struggling with those same problems. And and to bring it back to the Avatar, it's very funny. I wouldn't say funny, haha, like funny, peculiar, that we're still dealing with a lot of the issues. Like, like, for example, when I mentioned sexism, we're talking about like the Kyoshi Warriors, and Sokka makes a lot of sexist comments at them. We see a lot of things like that. When it comes to racism, we see how the Earthbenders are treated by, the Fire Nation. They're treated poorly for their type of bending. They call it inferior and things like that. And that's kind of the racism symbolism there. We see people with different walks of life, different ways of thinking, and it's very interesting. It's a very hopeful story, and it's fond memories from my youth. So I got this is just another quickie review for a show that's something I used to watch. So it's like I rewatched the whole thing, and I gotta say, guys, it was definitely a good trip down. I would 10 out of 10 if you have never seen it. I don't know how, but if you haven't seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, you really should watch it. It's a great show. It's got a lot of like spiritual aspects to it that I think people can really take into on how to handle complex problems in the real world. And trust me, on the date that this is going up, yeah, we're seeing plenty. Anyway, guys, if you're new to the Unbound Brian channel, do me a favor. If you like Netflix reviews, you guys want to hear more of my opinions, or maybe there's a show you on the Netflix that you particularly want me to review, comment that below, and I'll give a quickie review over it. Anyway, guys, I think that's what I'm going to call it a day. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.